Hi everybody, it's Missy.
It's April.
And this is SheelaNaGig. Hey everybody, how's it going? It's been a while.
It has been a while.
We typically record pretty consecutively as we're going here. We had to take a little time off.
We did.
Since stuff went down. My son was a little sick. He was actually in the hospital for 18 days. He has asked me not to disclose why, and I totally respect that. But he's doing much better now, and I'm super relieved. And April was such a great help. She came and hung out with him one day when I couldn't be there. And
yeah, he's a great kid, and I'm just so glad he's doing so much better.
Oh, I'm so glad too. Yeah. But if you remember what we do here at SheelaNaGig, and I am thrilled to be back. Actually, this feels like so good to see you and to just be back in our realm, in our mode, right? I'm just very happy. But each week we present and explore our own SheelaNaGig. That's what we call them. A woman whose strength and perseverance has led her to greatness. Somebody who empowers us, who inspires us. It could be somebody you've heard of before. Maybe you'll learn a little bit more. But it could also be somebody that you've never heard of that you should definitely learn about. We would want to just share these Sheelas, I should say, and put some light where it belongs, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But how are you, April? What's going on?
I'm good. Well, while you were assisting Nolan and supporting Nolan through his illness, I took a trip to San Diego.
Ooh, that's right. I knew that.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit on the phone.
We did.
I couldn't leave it alone.
I know. I like hearing from you, but I was visiting a friend of mine, a very dear friend, and I got to tell you this one story because it was just too funny.
Oh, pray do tell.
It was sunset, and my friend Faith and I were going to the beach. And we weren't necessarily going to walk all the way downstairs to, there's a lot of steps you go down to the beach. But there was a neon sign in the middle of a big white heart-shaped, I think it was balloons. And we were debating whether this was a wedding or a funeral or what was going on. There was a whole setup, but no people there.
Okay.
So we decided, okay, we're going to go down and check this out.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
We're just too curious. And we go down.
I'm glad you went and checked it out.
Oh, yeah. So we get down there, and we could see finally the neon sign says, "Will you marry me?"
Oh.
And we're there going, oh, and the sun is setting, and it's one of those amazing, God-sent, brilliant sunsets. The sky's luminescent.
They'll never forget.
Right? And all of a sudden, this man starts playing music. He has a guitar, and we're like, wow, we're snapping pictures. And I look over, and some women are making this hand gesture. And I said to Faith, are they signaling to us? And because I'm a little nearsighted and I couldn't make it out. So she looks over and they're making gestures. Get out of the way, assholes.
Oh my God.
The couple was rapidly approaching.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
We were totally ruining the moment.
Oh my God.
Fortunately, we did get out of the way and watch the whole proposal, and we were part of the crowd of people that just applauded when she said yes, and they kissed.
So God, will they ever leave? Don't they know when they're not wanted?
And I'm afraid that Faith and I will always be part of that story. Those chicks that are standing right in front of the whole.
Yeah, remember them?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. I thought you were going to say they were saying, "Come join us."
Oh no, they were "Get the hell out of the way! You're ruining everything."
Oh my God, that's so funny.
And everything had been so perfectly orchestrated. There was photographers and flowers and music and sunset, and we're standing there right in front of them.
I hope that marriage lasts.
I hope so
It's
too.
a terrible thing to think. But you sometimes hear about these extravagant, the engagement party, the honeymoon,
and then you
$300,000 wedding, and you're just praying that
hopefully it lasts.
I used to always say, because I've sang at a lot of weddings, and I think all but one of the weddings that I've sang at, the people would split up.
Oh,
So I got to the point when people would ask me to sing at their wedding, I would say, it's not a good idea.
I'm bad luck.
I'm bad luck. It is not a good idea.
So you don't sing for weddings anymore?
Not really. No. No. I mean, our band has played a few weddings, those two.
Well, I don't mean to be like resurrecting doom and gloom, but I do have to say that you did sing at Jean's memorial.
Oh, God.
And Jean
Nearly killed me.
is the husband of our former podcast editor, Dana, who we love.
You, Dana.
And he was also one of Missy's band members. He was a guitar player in her Irish band. And I just want to say I thought you did a beautifully exquisite, heartfelt job singing at the memorial.
Thank you. Thank you. Dana wanted us to play a traditional parting toast. It's a traditional Irish parting toast that we often end our sets with as an Irish band, because one of my bands is an Irish band called Patty's Pig here in Southern California. And it's a beautiful song, but it is truly a parting toast. And I thought I could get through it, but I couldn't.
Actually, you did.
I was sobbing. Like I was trying so hard to sing. And it was, I felt really honored that we did it. That's all
I
I'm
thought you
saying.
did
I
a
felt
lovely job.
It's not about, what kind of job I did. It's about that we did it and we got through it. It was just really, it was more challenging than I even expected. And I was really honored that we were able to do it, though. And we love Gene and we miss him so much. And we love the Sullivan family. So shout out to the Sullivans.
Shout out to the Sullivans.
Gene will always be with all of us. He was a heck of a guy. We love Gene. Thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah.
It's been a little bit of a rough patch here. A lot of things going on.
A lot going on.
Yeah. But what Sheela are we bringing to the table today?
I've got quite the Sheela today. I should say Sheelas.
Sheelas.
Yes. They are literally a gang.
A gang.
More specifically, the Gulabi Gang of India.
Okay.
And as of today, they stand about 400,000 strong.
What?
Yeah.
Women, I'm assuming.
Women, of course. A women's gang. So you know how India has become kind of known as a strong technology leader?
Yeah.
And it has one of the fastest growing economies in the world. Mm-hmm. But sadly, it's also rampant with violence against women.
Yes.
And it also has a pecking order caste system. And the country is really moving into this duality of both being progressive and also having these patriarchal traditions.
Right.
And while those traditions are getting loosened in the cities like Mumbai and Delhi, there are the rural villages where unfortunately these tendencies are really alive and well and unfortunately thriving.
Ugh, it's terrible. It's like that woman, I remember, I think it was last year, maybe the year before, and she got on a bus and she was gang raped on a bus.
Yes.
I mean, it's horrifying, absolutely horrifying. But what's more horrifying is that I don't think there was any justice.
Well, that's exactly what the Gulabi Gang do. Let me kind of start at the beginning.
Okay.
And it began in a Dust Bowl area called Bundelkhand, which is located in the heartland of traditional India. And women's rights there are pretty much non-existent. So enter our first Sheela hero, and her name is Sampat Pal Devi. And she comes from the Bundelkhand region of Uttar Pradesh. And in 2016, she saw this man beating the heck out of his wife.
Ugh.
And Baldevi pleaded with him to stop the violence. And not only did he ignore her, but in fact, he attacked her too because of her interference.
Ugh. How dare she?
So the next day, she happened to return with 5 other women. And each woman was carrying a bamboo stick that's known as a lattice. And apparently, the thrashing these women gave to that guy made him stop ever beating his wife again.
Hooray.
So when the news of this thrashing spread, more women not only began approaching Debbie for help, but she also had them join forces, and that resulted in the formation what is now known today as the Gulabi Gang.
Wow.
So the Gulabi Gang, which today, as I said, is a network of about 400,000 women, they all dress in these bright pink saris, and they all wield these sticks called lattice.
So rad, so badass.
And they're covering about 11 districts across India in the largest province of Uttar Pradesh. Wow. So the gang formed to address some really important rights, and the first one is to fight violence against women. They also work to prevent child marriages, arrange weddings for couples who are in love despite local resistance.
Awesome.
And they also seek to ensure the delivery of basic rights to the poorest of the poor.
Oh, I love that.
The Gulabi Gang's vision is to protect the powerless from abuse and fight corruption, because reports of sex crimes and gang rapes have, as you had mentioned about that bus episode, overrun the entire region.
Of course, it's just awful. Oh my God. These are amazing Sheelas.
They are.
Hells yeah.
They are. So in Bundelkhand, one of India's most impoverished areas, with more than 40% of the population living below the poverty line, and its residents are just weighted down with all kinds of hardships that stem from a combination of drought, endless drought, and illiteracy. And female illiteracy is like at 47%. There's also horrible infanticide, child marriages, and domestic violence that has been just kind of rampant for decades.
Oh, God.
And it's one of the most unsafe provinces for women throughout the country. So India's caste system also plays a very significant role in the rise of the Gulabi Gang, because those belonging to the lower castes are often among the poorest and illiterate, and traditionally they have been referred to as untouchables. And untouchables are people that are identified at birth because of who they're born to. They're considered impure and polluting because they inherit occupations that handle dead animals and human waste and issues of sanitation.
Inherit that?
Yeah, they inherit that status as part of they're born into their caste system.
Exactly. That is just so sad. Oh.
And women who belong to the lowest caste, like the Dalits, are disproportionately subject to violence and discrimination because they know that when violence is perpetrated against them, the police will do nothing. The police collude with people in the higher caste, and they basically ignore, not only do they ignore the Dalits, but they often target the females, knowing that they basically have blank impunity for whatever they inflict upon these women.
Oh my God.
So at the intersection of the caste system and gender-created oppression, it just really made the gang flourish. So the gang has been providing a way for women to seek justice when formal channels are just not responding. Yes, we fight rapists with lattice. We find the culprit, we thrash him black and blue so he dare not attempt to do wrong to any girl or woman again.
They beat sense into him, right?
Yes, exactly.
I never thought that I'd really approve of somebody beating sense into somebody. I don't know. This is pretty amazing.
These are the words of Sampat Paldevi, the group's founder and initial head. She goes on to say, when a woman seeks to be a member of the Gulabi Gang, it is because she has suffered injustice, has been oppressed, and does not see any other resource. Any other recourse, says Susman Singh, one of the group's deputy commanders. All of our women can stand up to the men and, if need be, seek retribution through lattice, she adds. And again, lattice is this stick. Now, I should note here that the Gulabi Gang does try diplomacy before turning to violence. When an incident of crime, corruption, or malpractice is brought to the gang's attention, they really do try first using dialogues, rallies, protests. They have gone on hunger strikes. But when those methods don't work, they don't hesitate to pick up their sticks.
Wow.
So some examples of nonviolence that they've exercised includes participating in protests and demonstrations. they've also used the media and mass mobilization of like large swaths of people to make a great impact. For example, once when a police officer refused to acknowledge a Dalek's complaint, the Gulabi Gang organized a demonstration with over 200 members, and they stormed the police station with, now this is hysterical to me, pink dogs. Now, I'm not sure if they dyed the dog's hair pink or put pink ribbons in their hair or they found dogs that look pink, but the description says pink dogs.
Pink dogs.
And what
I thought you said pink dots at first.
Pink, P-I-N-K.
I know, but dogs.
Dogs. D-O-G-S.
No, okay. And I'm picturing like them having these little, they were all running around, like sticking little stickers everywhere, pink dots everywhere. Okay,
Oh, no, pink dogs.
Okay.
And what they claimed was that the pink dogs, and remember the gangs wore pink saris, said that they were more loyal and effective than the police. And because they had so many people join the protest and they got all this media attention, it was a way of actually shaming the police and embarrassing the police.
Wow.
And it was apparently very effective.
Wow.
Another example, in 2011, the gang had held a 17-year-old girl actually gang raped.
Ugh.
And then when she went to report the crime, she was arrested when she arrived at the police station because one of the rapists, who included a member of the legislature, arrived at the police station before she did and requested her arrest. So the victim's father approached the Gulabi Gang.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No.
God.
So they approached the gang, and the gang organized 2 mass demonstrations in front of the police station and the legislator's house. And that was how they were able to shame them and kind of back down on pursuing this poor young girl.
Thank God.
In 2008, they surrounded the Gulabi Gang, surrounded an electricity office in the Banda district, where officials had cut the village's power with the goal of extracting bribes and sexual favors.
Wow.
Only the gangs outsmarted them. They locked the staff inside the office building and vowed to remove the lock only when they restored the electricity. And in less than 1 hour, the officials complied.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
But diplomacy,
It's like a timeout.
right? Yes, you've been naughty. We're going to just have to lock you in your building.
Exactly.
But diplomacy, unfortunately, doesn't always work. And other nonviolent tactics don't always work, and that is why the Gulabi members always carry and are trained to use this lattice. They are a common weapon in the rural area because it's easy to make out of trees. And I'll note here that the media does tend to focus on their violent interventions, but the Gulabi gangs tend to use violence as either a last resort and in self-defense.
Wow. Yeah.
So according to Pal Devi, the Gulabi Gang has had 100% success rate in bringing justice to domestic violence complaints by thrashing hundreds of abusive husbands. And over time, the gang's efforts have really paid off. They've even won grudging recognition from the state authorities.
Wow.
The Gulabi
Good job.
Gang, it is said, has created such a force of women's rights and awakening that it has brought a new desire to fight against women's exploitation, acknowledges Avrin Sen, the superintendent of police within the Banda district.
Whoa.
By confronting perpetrators of violence and demanding accountability, the Gulabi Gang challenged patriarchal and casteist norms that perpetuate the oppression of women, especially, again, in rural India.
I mean, it has to be pretty demeaning if, you're a man and these women come up with these lattices and beat the shit out of you.
Right.
It has to be pretty damn demeaning for you.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
and there's some
That'll
interesting...
change your ways, right?
There is some interesting commentary on that, which I will share, but you nailed it. So the word Gulabi comes from a Hindi word that stands for the color pink, and the gang always shows up wearing these bright pink saris, and they carry their wooden sticks for protection. And whenever the gang helps a woman, she is expected in turn to join the gang and contribute to the mission of assisting other women, which I guess is how they've grown to 400,000 member
so
group.
great. I just again, like I had this my brain goes everywhere. I have this little story in my head, like they come and this woman, they beat the shit out of this woman's husband, and then they say, okay, you have to join us now. And she's like, bye, honey, I'm going to go out with my gang tonight and go beat the shit out of somebody. See you later. Remember that happened to you a couple of years ago? You've been so much nicer since.
So much better.
All right, got to go to work. See you later. I just,
Love it. Now, one of the things that's curious to me is that to become a member, you actually do have to pay a registration fee of 100 rupees. And I don't know what that translates. That should have been a rabbit hole I went down, because many of these women are very poor. But apparently they pay the membership fee and join the gang and beat the crap out of men that are...
So let me ask you, is it random? Like, they hear about this woman was beaten, this happened, they show up at her door, beat the shit out of her husband, whether she wants them to or not.
Well, so usually it comes as a request. They inform
a request. Okay, that's what I was wondering.
The Gulabi Gang, and they come, and they do try diplomacy first. They do try talking to the husband, and if the husband agrees never to touch his wife again, then they don't use their sticks. But if the guy is disrespectful, if he doesn't back down, if he continues being, then they don't hesitate to pick up their sticks and beat the crap out of him.
Nice. Yeah. As it should be, right?
So all of the women are expected to wear a uniform of the bright pink sari and carry a wooden stick. Paldevi claims that the pink sari uniform commands respect and is protection for the gang's members. While the saris aren't obligatory, she argues that it gives women a sense of community and ensures they're being taken seriously.
Yeah.
So men, by the way, are not allowed to become gang members themselves, but many male villagers play active support bro roles.
Ooh, support bros! Support bros!
Yeah, so one such example is Jai Prakash Shapaveri, who stands in solidarity against issues like government corruption, child marriages, and dowry deaths. Dowry deaths result when a woman is getting married. The bride's parents are supposed to pay a dowry to the groom's family. And sometimes if they're having difficulty paying the dowry, or somehow they decide the dowry wasn't large enough, they will beat or kill the wife. What? And that's called a dowry death.
That is just so fucked up.
Yeah, and they often happen within just a few years of marriage, and they're linked to disputes over the payment or property or cash or valued goods.
Oh, so sad.
So again, men like Shabahari have really supported the Gulabis, and he can't be a member, but he's played an active role. Other men will join the gang's protest in support, and also as a way of adding protection when they're worried that the women are going.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome that these men stand up like that.
Well, there's also something in it for them. Many of the villagers I guess before I tell you about what's in it for them, they'll also support the gang because the men are often in many villages the only people who are educated and can help out with things like administrative tasks, reading, writing, and math skills.
Yeah.
And so it become beneficial for many men to support the Gulabi Gang because they've asked them to join their efforts. So one example of that is when the men or a group of farmers in Banda wanted to stage a demonstration to demand compensation for failed crops. They asked the gang to help support their protest, and that added to the might and force of their efforts. And so it's become advantageous. They're now seen as a force to be reckoned with.
Sure.
When they come aboard, there's a lot of bodies saying hell no.
Yeah.
So one of the primary objectives of the Gulabi Gang is to promote financial security and independence for women. Again, remembering that they are mostly illiterate and impoverished.
Sure.
So they established many small businesses that sell handmade products of the region in nearby markets. And they work in small-scale industries like organic manure, candles, Ayurvedic medicines, and pickles. These small businesses often hire women such as Prema Rambahori, and she has a leaf plate making business who employs 500 women. So not so small in that example.
Leaf plate making, did you say?
Yes.
What is that?
Leaf plate making business. I believe it's where they make these ornate leaf patterns in
Plates?
plates. And it's a big industry.
Oh, okay. I'm going to have to definitely look that up because I know nothing about that. And 500 employees. That's
500.
Wow. Okay.
They also promote businesses in the wedding market, which is a big market in India, by training women to do things like manage venues and provide services like catering and tailoring and flower arranging, and applying henna, which for anybody who isn't familiar with the art, is creating intricate designs on brides' hands and feet, and that symbolizes good luck, prosperity, and spiritual awakening.
I love henna. I think it's so beautiful.
It is quite lovely, and if you've never seen it, I do
Or had it
encourage
done.
you. Yeah,
Go get it done. Yeah,
take
try
a
it.
look online. It's quite lovely. So another goal of the Gulabi Gang is to reduce illiteracy among women, young women, and expand access to education, especially for people in lower castes. So in 2008, Paldevi established a school in Banda that is attended by over 400 girls.
Nice.
And the gang also visits homes to advise parents on educating their daughters and encouraging students to go ahead and attend classes, because sometimes, the culture is not necessarily acclimated to going to school. And one gang member claimed that the group was also able to find a teacher for an unstaffed school in a predominantly Dalits village, so this lower caste village, so that they can raise the literacy rates there.
That's fantastic.
The group also seeks to empower women politically. They assist illiterate women or lower caste people in submitting forms and applications for government aid and resources. And the Gulabi Gang also shares information about opportunities for women who are interested in running for office. And because of the Gulabi Gang's efforts to counter corruption, they're often in direct opposition, not too surprisingly, with local government officials and the police. And the strained relationship has led many gang members to receiving threats of violence and being called militant Maoists by local police. And police officials have often accused them of defamation and assault. So that's kind of an ongoing challenge that they face. But at the same time, they've gained significant political power. In 2010, 21 gang members were elected for positions that oversee local issues, everything like road construction and water sanitation to agricultural development. And many of the gang members can use the Panchayat Act of 1993 to gain political positions. And this act, which of course illiterate women would know anything about, reserves 1/3 of seats for women and marginalized groups. So as these women have become more aware and more powerful, they're able to elevate so many women and gain more influence through government.
Wow. They just sound outstanding.
Yeah, aren't they amazing? I was so excited when I found them.
Oh, yeah. They're so freaking cool. I love this.
So since its founding, the group has garnered international headlines. They've inspired a feature-length film and a 2012 award-winning documentary entitled Gulabi Gang through translator Vineet Singh, international director and advisor to the Gulabi Gang. The group's founder, Sampath Paldevi, was interviewed and asked how she found the courage to fight the system and overcome the fear of reprisals. And she responded, "We don't fear anyone because we are trained to fight with a stick." Sampath Pal explained defiantly, "We feel empowered to fight any crime against women. We don't fear the police or any authority because we fight for the truth. We have hired a legal advisor to fight within the law in any court of India."
Wow.
So she doesn't back down.
Do you want to start a gang with me, April?
Yeah,
Let's do it.
let's do it. We don't have to actually hit anybody. We just gotta threaten.
Just threaten him. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not,
Yeah, we're not.
unless I'm drinking. When I was younger and I would drink a lot, I actually got in a few fights, always with like men. Always with men, like dissing on my friends or something.
But did you wear a bright pink sari?
I did not. And I didn't have a lattice either. Yeah, maybe we should start a gang. I don't know.
Maybe.
Okay, sorry.
So a little bit about Paldevi. She was born in a small, dusty town of Banda, and she didn't have a formal education. She worked in agricultural fields and farmlands as a kid, but she actually taught herself to read and write. She was eventually enrolled in school for a few years, but ultimately she was forced to leave her education and get married off at the ripe age of 12.
Jesus, my daughter is 12.
I know.
Oh, that makes me sick.
Paldevi gave birth to 5 children before she was 15.
Oh my God.
And it's mentioned that her husband was aware of his wife's independent nature and supported her pursuits, but it was really unclear whether she remained married throughout her life or if the marital relationship lasted. Sources say that she was married young and had the 5 kids, but that was about all I could find out about her husband. The information about her really does focus on her activism and her role in founding the Gulabi Gang.
Maybe he's a support bro.
Maybe. Now, there was a mention of her getting beaten by her husband.
Oh, no, then he's not a support bro. Okay, so.
But apparently, if that happened, she
took care of business.
She took care of business.
She probably left him. I mean, if that's true, knowing who she is.
Yeah,
well, she either left him or they beat him and now, he's sorry and remorseful.
Right.
Improving his game.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Let's hope so.
So, interestingly, in 2014, 4 days before the release of the film on the Gulabi Gang,
you've got to see that.
Paldevi was ousted from leadership of the group she founded.
Why?
The dismissal was based on a few different things. One was accusations that included mishandling of money and her pursuit of career in politics, and to the extent that it became a disservice to the Gulabi Gang, and her authoritarian nature. Paldevi is said to be fearless. She's very talkative, blunt, and intimidates people. She can talk very abusively like a man, one observer explained. So members of the Gulabi Gang believed that Paldevi had turned the group into a political organization rather than a social group. And Shiva Hare, the national conveyor of the Gulabi Gang, stated that Devi had begun to wander from the group's original goals and that she had become obsessed with publicity, and she'd forgotten the purpose of her creation back in 2006. So Shiva Hare's evidence includes her contesting a 2012 assembly election without notifying the Gulabi Gang first, and she participated in something called Big Boss Show. I think it was a local TV show. She did it on her own rather than representing the Gulabi Gang, and she pressured group members, according to Shiva Hare, to campaign for her run in Congress. There were also unproven claims that she had taken money from donations that were made to the group, and that she was in cahoots with the makers of the Gulabi Gang film in 2014. And they suspected that because, unlike other group members, she didn't request compensation from the filmmakers when they were originally making the film, as did everybody else.
Interesting.
So she was ousted. Later that year, she was involved in a physical altercation with 2 of her former aides. Paldevi alleged that they attacked her, but later reports alleged that she had physically retaliated.
With her lattice?
Apparently.
I would presume with her lattices?
Women with sticks, yeah. The police officials who arrived at the scene reported that both sides had filed complaints against each other, and it's widely believed that this particular altercation was a result of Paldevi and Shiva Hare's resentment towards each other, as Shiva Hare led the meeting that ultimately led to Paldevi's ouster. Susman Singh Chauhan, the assistant commander of the Gulabi Gang, was then elected as the gang's new leader.
Okay.
So as I mentioned before, the gang had grown to over 400,000 members across 155 miles of India. and the women range in age from 16 to 60. Each receives a pink sari upon her initiation. When word of abuse reaches the gang, their first line of defense, again, is to confront the abuser, and if he's unwilling to relent, they will wield their sticks and thrash the hell out of him. Responding to violence with violence is a controversial tactic, but a lesson learned by the gang, which made the difference in some instances between a woman living and dying.
I'll bet.
Yeah. So according to different newspaper accounts of the Gulabi Gang and case studies from their efforts, as you were saying earlier, Missy, it seems that the gang's goal isn't so much physically beating men, but rather they want to physically humble their egos and reduce them to the same level as women.
Yeah.
It's like to bring shame to their shameful acts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Debbie once confirmed on another media that unfortunately violence is the most common course of action. Instead of physically abusing these men in revenge, they prefer the men to acknowledge that they were doing something wrong. Most wives do not wish to abuse their drunk husbands, and they certainly don't want their husbands to abandon them, even when they beat them, because they would be worse off.
Oh, God, it's so sad.
Due to poverty and, other circumstances.
Yeah.
So the goal is not to compel women and mothers to abandon their allegiance to their existing station, to join an aggressive vigilante regime, but rather the gang aims to create a safe place where disadvantaged women can be empowered. Mm-hmm. The pink sari, which began as a way of dressing for battle, has become a global symbol of sisterhood and resistance. Mm-hmm. In a major moment, the Gulabi Gang's pink signature saris were featured in a London museum exhibition. The pink saris went from being just a fabric to being an emblem of empowerment, solidarity, and courage. And it was as if the whole world finally saw the Gulabi Gang for what they truly are, female warriors.
Oh, so amazing. We should be that for Halloween. We should get some saris.
I love it. Now, you and I usually don't like to dress up for Halloween.
But something like this, like if we start dressing up as like historical women, like the Night Witches, like the Gulabi Gang, like
Sheelas.
That would be pretty cool.
It would be pretty cool. I love it.
Oh, I love that. Let's do it.
Yes.
Ooh, these women are amazing. I have this little story that I think I may have told it to you before. It's right in line with this. It's interesting because many years ago, I worked at this in between touring. I would do these little jobs in between tours. And so I worked for this phone company. We did cell phones, and we did a lot of cell phones for films and for people traveling abroad, that kind of thing. So we had a little office, and it was in the Mid-Wilshire district here in LA. And next door, there was a doctor, and he was a holistic doctor. And my boss at the time loved to go see this doctor, and he was Korean. Mm-hmm. And he was very nice, and he had this wife who also worked with him. She was kind of like the office manager. And my boss had become friends with both of them and was getting these regular treatments. And then one day she told me that the doctor was going to be sending his wife back to Korea. He was going to be deporting her because he had met a younger woman.
Oh, wow.
And somehow had the power just to deport her back to Korea.
Whoa.
So the woman was heartbroken, and I felt really bad for her. And I hadn't really seen her. Then I kind of didn't see her for a while. I saw him, but I didn't see her. And then one day I'm working. These are very thin walls. I'm working, and I hear just this. I hear like somebody being beaten, like like screaming, and but it's a man screaming.
Oh,
and you can hear these women kind of yelling, like many women. And I'm like, what is going on? Have I told you this story before?
No.
I'm like, what is going on? Something is going on. And I remember I said to my boss, "Do you hear that?" She's like, "I'm ignoring it." And I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like somebody. She's like, whatever's happening in there, he probably deserves it. I'm like, what? No, somebody's being beaten. This is horrible. So I run up the hall to the guys who teach karate. And I said, hey, the doctor's office. And they said, we don't want to get involved. what?
Interesting.
So I didn't quite know what to do, and I could hear it was getting worse. I didn't really know what was going on, but I finally had the sense to open up the little mail hatch and peek in, and I see the doctor on his knees, bloodied, and there are these 5 women.
Oh, the original Gulabi.
I'm not even kidding. Including this woman, his wife, who he was deporting. They had heels of their shoes, and they were hitting him like with the heel of their shoe in the head. He had like he was bleeding. His face was bleeding, but he was taking it, which was really interesting. He was on his knees. He had
it's 1 against 5,
and he just was taking it. And I don't know. Yeah, exactly. He was. I don't know. He wasn't fighting back, which made me feel bad for him. I mean, it was I don't know. All I could think was, this is not right. They're beating somebody. Maybe in retrospect, especially after hearing this story, maybe I was wrong to interfere, but I ended up calling the police. The police came, and these are interesting. They were all Korean women, and they were all very nicely dressed. Some of them were older, like the wife was probably in her 30s. Some of these women were in their 60s. And there were like 5 of them.
This sounds like the Gulabis.
Yeah, so it ends, and I'm kind of, the police come in, but as the police are getting there, these women are filing down the stairs. They're super well dressed in their little heels and their suits. They have little, like, business suits on and their little purses, and they're just they're all very, like, beautiful and well kempt, and they're walking down the stairs, and the police are kind of walking past them, and suddenly I said, that's them. That's them. I fingered them. And the police lined up these women, and they were just glaring at me. I thought, oh my gosh, what have I done? I went into the office, and then an ambulance came for him, took him away. And I don't know what happened with the women. I mean, they put them in police cars. They put handcuffs on them. They arrested them. And after that, it was really weird because there was a Starbucks around there, and I would kind of walk out to get a coffee, and there would be these men just smoking, leaning against the wall, glaring at me. They were presumably Korean, and they would just be glaring at me. Like they were, well,
this is going to be your penance. I'm going to make you for Halloween dress up as a Gulabi.
I know, and
do the penance.
This has a period on this story, which is okay. So this is now maybe a couple of years later.
Yeah,
and we're in K-Town, and we're having dinner at this restaurant, and I'm pregnant. I'm probably 8 months pregnant. I'm sitting there with my husband Mike, and all of a sudden the doctor, oh my God, it's you. Oh my God. I went, what? And I looked and I said, oh, hello. I'm not using any names here. I'm not going to use his name. But I said, hello. You saved my life. Yay. I'm glad. I didn't know what to say. You know what I mean? And Mike had heard the story, and he said, oh, and he says to all his friends, come over here, meet my friend. She saved my life. And I did. I felt a little guilty.
Yeah.
I felt a little guilty, and he ended up buying dinner for my husband and I. And we laughed, and my husband looked at me and said, only you.
Only you.
This happens to me a lot, where people, only you. This would only happen to you. But through the years, I thought about this.
Actually, Missy, you raise an interesting point about the Gulabi Gang, because there are some critics of them that they do use violence. But I will say in their instance, they do try to do negotiation first. They do, or other types of peaceful resistance. And I thought it was very poignant when it was said, and I read in a couple of places, that it's not, their goal isn't so much to inflict violence as to humiliate the men in the same way the men have humiliated the women.
Sure.
And
who knows what else went on?
Right.
He could have been abusive. I don't know.
Yeah.
The only thing I could think of is that nobody at the time, nobody deserves this, but maybe they do, especially hearing this story and really thinking about it now. I'm reliving another pang of guilt here. But, when you see somebody being attacked and not really knowing the full story, I mean, I knew she was being deported, but
right.
Can you just sit there and let somebody be beaten to death?
Well, I guess
should you?
I think that one of the things that my takeaway from the Gulabis is that when the men give up and say they won't beat anymore, they'll stop, but they don't kill. And so I would say that if he would have been beaten till the point where he agreed not to deport her,
and maybe
that's what it took. I don't know.
What I found very interesting is that he was very. He felt like he somehow deserved it. The way he was sitting there, just so, with his hands might have even been behind his back, or they were in front of him, and he was on his knees, and I mean, his head was up, like he literally was taking it. Like somehow he knew he deserved it, or something. It was strange. I don't know if there's something cultural about that. Like I don't quite know. I don't know.
Probably will never know.
I don't know the full story of it, but it did bring it back to my as we're talking about this. And like I said, I am feeling a little guilt because I love who they are, what they've done, and that's amazing. I think that we should honor them and do maybe like a dress-up day or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Maybe we can go find somebody to beat. Do we know anybody that?
No. We can beat a symbolic, non-living,
You're right,
inanimate
Because I say
object.
that I can't even kill a fly.
Right, that is true. Before we got on the air, Missy was just saying how she can't kill flies. So
I can't.
She
You're right.
sounds tough, but don't believe her.
Well, get a few drinks in me, and I might be able to get rough. I don't know.
I've had a few drinks with you. You don't get violent. To the Gulabis, just to sort of, because they do
they have a
training.
camp? Can you pay to go to their camp? I want to go to camp.
I'm going to write to them and say, will you take my my podcast partner and
My
just kind
cohort?
of train her a little? And
They should start a camp. They can make a lot of money. My daughter and I would go together, and you and Sarah could go. We could go to the camp together.
there we go.
Learn how to use a lattice.
Yeah, sounds good.
Oh my gosh! But I do love this. I really, and it feels so good to be back. We're back. We're back. We're back, everybody.
Yay.
We're back. 18 days is a long time.
Long time. Yeah.
And after being a touring musician, I always say I can sleep anywhere, which is still kind of true, because they had this weird little chair that
I
opened.
saw the recliner you were sleeping in.
18 days, girl. But yeah, we're back on track, the way we're supposed to be.
Good.
We're coming up on a year.
We are.
Yeah,
We
we're coming up on a
are.
year in September, so we are super excited.
Yep.
We got some stuff in store.
All right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
more to come.
So thank you for listening. Please keep listening. Please send us your comments, your questions, your Sheilas.
Yes, we love getting Sheela ideas.
We love it. All right, everybody.
All right.
Be good. Don't go beat up anybody.
No,
No.
no lattice. No
Lattice. No. Yeah. Try to behave. I mean.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Unabashed